Welcome to the Legendary Upside YouTube channel. My name is Pat Kerrane. With me today, Greg Brainos for our Legendary Coach Speak stream. Greg, how's it going?
Going great, man. Excited for this collab. Excited for draft season. Yeah, let's dive into it, man. I'm pumped. I'm jacked.
So yeah, we're a few minutes late here. The way this is gonna go, I do Best Ball Breakfast over on Pete Overzet's channel at 10. And then immediately following that, we're gonna do this stream here. And so yeah, it'll be 11-ish. Hopefully, closer to 11 than we were today. But and normally what we'll do is we'll talk through some of the key situations, maybe some of the buzzy situations, some good quotes that Greg's dug up by literally watching hundreds of hours of press conferences on YouTube. And we'll dive through some of those, talk through some situations, some depth chart stuff, kind of news and notes, and then rip a draft. The DraftKings slate has not launched as of yet. We'll see if that changes in the next few minutes. But if we don't have a draft to rip there, then we'll just talk through more situations today. But typically we'll do like a little news and notes section and then a draft. As this is going to be a weekly show that we do all summer, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's the alpha show. It's the show you need this summer.
That's right. Sing-alongs.
Sorry, by the way, Matthew several times on Twitter replied at us. It was like, "Are we getting a sing-along?"
So you've got karaoke stuff going. I've played guitar. I do sing some as well, but maybe with our powers combined, the syncing of I've never tried to do music accompaniment over stream.
Yeah,
the
internet.
Internet.
We'll have to get together.
Yeah,
we'll get together
that's
live.
True.
We're what, a couple hours away.
We're both
from
SoCal.
Other?
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's
do it.
All right, let's talk through. I mean, post-draft landscape, obviously a bunch of stuff changed. I feel like the Eagles would probably be the first team I want to talk through. They had Mekhi Lemon. They had Eli Stowers. They are very likely to trade A.J. Brown. And they were like super kind of hum-ho about bringing back Dallas Goedert, floated trading him last summer. Do sign him again, but just for a one-year deal. So the Stowers pick is really interesting from that standpoint as well. And then they also took Cole Payton, who, is a fifth-round pick, probably means nothing. But like Cole Payton was a guy I really liked as like a fun what-if type of play. And he kind of is sort of like Hurts. Like it's sort of Hurtsy. Like he's a lower probability bet than Hurts was, but in the same vein of like he's a true dual threat. He's got a pretty big arm. He could be fun in the right system, and like this is literally the system. So their whole draft is super interesting. Start with any of that that I just laid out there.
Well, I want to say first, by the way, like how do the Cardinals not take Cole Payton or like the Steelers?
Right.
Instead, they're taking Carson Beck, which I don't know if we're going to end up getting to that, by the way, but the most brutal watch of all the NFL draft pressers was watching Monty Ossenfort and Mike LaFleur try to answer what they like about Carson Beck.
Well, let's get to it now. What did they say?
So they asked Monty Ossenfort. It took them like 3 times asking him, right? First asked what sold you on Carson Beck, and he said, well, he's played a lot of ball. He played in a lot of big games. And then they asked him again, and he was like, well, he's performed. He's won a lot of games. And then a beat reporter just straight up asks him, okay, but what was the skill set that you saw in him that sold you on him? And Ossenfort said he's big, he's tough. And then Mike LaFleur said he's 6'4", he's 235. Like those were the first things about him. So yeah, it was very rough. But getting back to the Philadelphia Eagles,
Did
yeah,
they get to pick any of their draft picks? Because it seemed like they got talked into love too by the owner. Like, were
yeah,
they in charge of anything?
the players have to pay for food in the cafeteria, and the coaches have to pay the owner to get the draft picks that they want. And I guess they just were not interested in coming off that money for Michael Bidwell.
That's good.
Yeah, rough stuff there. But for the Eagles, two big skill position picks early in the draft. Mekhi Lemon is really interesting for several reasons. Obviously, you have the AJ Brown situation there, which every time Howie Roseman has been asked about AJ Brown, he's like kind of distancing himself further and further. A couple months ago, it was AJ Brown's a great player. We're not interested in moving on from great players. And this time he said AJ Brown is a member of the Eagles. We don't have anything that's been done. We're taking it one day at a time. And that one day at a time is going to be until what, June
1st.
June 1st. Yeah. So
when Howie Roseman gets out his calendar app to answer these questions, you have a sense of what the plan is.
Yeah, he's got an alarm set.
Yeah, the thing with Brown is the way the contract works. They like when you trade, you can't designate a trade post June 1st. If they were to cut him, they could do the post June 1st thing. But the way this money follows his contract, it's like these bonuses that like don't hit until that year. So like if they trade him post June 1st, it's much more advantageous for them than if they do it pre June 1st. So they're going to do that. They're just going to wait until June. They've got a deal worked out with the Patriots, I think, and that they're just going to do the deal on June 1st. Is that your read?
Who is that reporting from, by the way? Is it from an NFL insider or a former NFL insider?
Who is it from?
It was just a cheap.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. I missed it. Yeah. Oh my God.
Sometimes they're over the head, and then sometimes they're under the feet.
And sometimes it's just head.
We have fun. Yeah. Mekhi Lemon, I guess let's start with him. They're talking about his versatility to play inside, outside. Obviously, he's a big yak guy, which is what they will be losing in AJ Brown. Devontae Smith, very good receiver, not like the biggest yak guy, but very good downfield, very good all over the field. Yeah, they asked Sirianni whether Mekhi Lemon is going to play in the slot or does he envision him playing on the outside, and Sirianni said he can do both. We'll see where we start him off when he gets here, and then they'll kind of see where it goes from there. I feel really bad for Dontavian Wicks, who in Green Bay, lower on the pecking order there, gets shipped to the Eagles when we knew that AJ Brown was going to be on the way out, and we're like, okay, he's finally Dontavian Wicks time, going to get some playing time, and now he's wide receiver 3 again, which is interesting there, because when you look at what Nick Sirianni has said in the past, it's our passing game goes through AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. Like, it's always been 3 guys, and yes, we have a wide receiver 3, like a guy who plays most of the time. He's out on the field. They played 59% of the time they were in 11 personnel last year, but that wide receiver 3 just never gets any looks there.
And it's going to get fewer snaps this year, I think, with Stowers, right? Like Stowers becomes the wide receiver 3 in a way, and like they used to play a bunch of 12 with Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, and they actually played like a decent amount of 12 last year, 26% according to Sumer Sports, and that was with Grant Calcaterra, who also not a good run blocker. He played 40% of offensive snaps last year for the Eagles. So this is such a huge upgrade in drafting Eli Stowers. Like if we can just start him off at that Calcaterra 40%, like we'll be looking pretty good. And
yeah, and like 2020, Zach Ertz had 74% route participation, and Dallas Goedert was at 65%. Both of them missed time that year, which contributed a little bit to that. I don't have like 2019 or anything. I just pulled up on Fantasy Life. And then Ertz was gone, I believe, the following year. So, but if you like, to me, like Goddard would be the Ertz in terms of the one who plays more, but you're telling me there's potentially a role for, like, let's call it 55 to 65% route participation for Stowers and trending up probably over the course of the year, like, to maybe peaking around 65%. That's a fantasy relevant role.
yeah,
Especially
in best ball, right? When we don't have
right.
to play this game of do I play this guy or this other guy? It's very Dalton Kincaid coded, I feel, for
Dalton Kincaid, yeah, exactly.
for this year, right? Where he's not going to be out on the field a ton, but when he is out there, he will very much be a part of that passing game. And they talked in their pressers this weekend about, like, Nick Sirianni saying that athletically he does some things that, like, nobody else can do. And it was funny. He said, just to be able to create mismatches with him on third downs. I was like, oh no, third down, like just a third down mismatch guy. But then he said, in first and second down situations.
I love that.
Yeah. Saying that he's a really tough cover. He catches everything. I think we get some fantasy points out of him in his rookie year.
Chika Conquo was at 64% route participation last year, and I think you kind of have him in a somewhat similar level of playing time as well. Isaiah Likely was at 58%, and so I think part of the bet with Stowers fundamentally is that he's good, and like, this is kind of, I was a big Harold Fannin guy last year. You get some pushback on that. And it's like, well, like, really, like, Isaiah Likely doesn't, like, that's not exciting. You're telling me he's kind of like Isaiah Likely. That's not exciting. Yeah, he's better though. Like, what that the bet is that he's better. And Fannin was, like, way better. I do worry about Stowers' ability to be even a Fannin level blocker, which makes me a little bit more nervous. And I think kind of makes, like, the way that Fannin, like, just straight up took Njoku's job over the course of the year. I would be pretty surprised if Stowers were able to do that. I do think he's not a smash to me. Like, Fannin, I was taking nonstop. Stowers, I don't think is that level of play, but I do like him. I do still like him. I mean, great draft capital, like really meaningful draft capital, a signal that this team will probably have a significant role for him, and potentially very soon, especially if AJ Brown's gone, which, again, I think is like a lock at this point.
Yeah. And Sirianni talked about that. Listen, Eli Stowers has not played tight end for a long time, and that's actually, like, a good thing. He has a lot of room to improve, a lot of room to grow, especially as a blocker. So yeah, they obviously love this guy, and he can do so much for them in the passing game. Like, he's not going to be a wide tight end, but we don't need him to be a wide tight end. Like, let's get him out there in 12 personnel and get Goddard as the inline blocker, and let's put Eli Stowers out in the F and cook.
Yeah, and what I said to Pete was that, if it's Dalton Kincaid, which I think it very easily could be, and Kincaid, by the way, was at 51% route participation last year, and he was, like, clearly just out there to catch passes as the big receiver role in a way that, like, Stowers probably doesn't carve out such an obvious receiving role. Because, like, Devontae Smith's there. Like, Devontae Smith would be immediately the number one receiver by a mile on the Bills. And then they have Mekhi Lemon. So it's just not as obvious. Like the target per route run is not going to be as high as with Kincaid. But like if you give me, 80% of Kincaid, maybe even 90% of Kincaid at the price that Stowers is going to go at, then he can pay off this ADP so easily. Next year, if you're telling me I have to pay like a 6th round pick for him, no, I'm out.
I remember when Dalton Kincaid was going in the 5th round.
He's going to the 5th round.
Yeah.
Which I was pretty out on, right? Like the price matters for that. I think you can still like have in the back of your head that like Stowers is kind of limited in certain ways, but I mean, and for best ball, he's I think pretty strong selection. I think Lemon's pretty strong too. I like Lemon. It's hurt Smith to me. Like I thought Smith, I was starting to see the vision that everyone else was like, man, this guy, what if he's Eagles JSN? Like there's no one else. What are they going to do? Well, there's 2 other guys now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think Devontae Smith comes out like worse than if they had not drafted Lemon or Stowers but kept AJ Brown?
No, it's probably similar. It's probably similar. I think he's safer now, right? Like there's like the AJ Brown, the offense is running through AJ Brown, and they don't pass much. Could have been like a year-long story for Smith. And now it's like the offense runs through Mekhi Lemon and they don't pass more, or they don't pass at all. Is like that's probably a second half of the year story, even if that happens. And of course it might not happen. So it could still be his offense, but the ceiling case is now a little murkier because it's like before, if AJ Brown got hurt, then you might have these like awesome weeks at various points. And now I think Stowers and Lemon, I think both of them are probably going to be pretty good. So it's like a little harder to see how Smith just becomes like, a 30% target share guy, where that was still even with Brown there, like that was still like potentially, there through contingency.
Yeah. I'm very curious what this offense is going to look like this year with a new offensive coordinator and with it being so awful last year. Like, is it just a completely different type of offense than we saw like last year or the year before with Kellen Moore? Like what is Sean Mannion gonna kind of institute here? And I think it's kind of cool as well that like Eli Stowers is coming into a situation where it's not like he's so far behind everyone as far as the system, right? Like he's learning the system at the same time as everyone else. Now,
that's
obviously,
true.
He doesn't have the experience in the NFL like these other guys do, but like they're all like this is all being implemented with them at the same time. He's not coming in like way behind the 8 ball here.
That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, they were so kind of boring and predictable last year that I am optimistic for Mannion to do more with this offense. Like we've seen Kellen Moore do a lot more with this offense. Like we know that there's a higher ceiling to this group than we got last year, even if that group doesn't include Brown. I still think there's a higher ceiling, and like it's cool to see them bringing in a guy like Stowers when he's like, hey, this offense kind of boring, and then you bring in a guy like Stowers. Like that's a good sign that they're thinking about creative ways, to create big plays.
Yeah, I wonder who Stowers' pick was. Like who was the driving force?
Yeah,
behind them taking Stowers. I think as long as we don't have a giant inflatable rabbit in the locker room, like a positivity rabbit in the second half of the season, like this will be a huge improvement.
I agree. Let's talk Tate and Tyson.
Yeah.
Jordan Tyson and Cornell Tate, the other 2 receivers that both went top 10, whereas Lemon fell to the to 23, right? And God, the Steelers thought they had him.
That entire thing is so wild. Obviously, the phone call that we all saw where Lemon is on the phone with the Steelers, and then somebody is saying like Eagles are calling, and like hand him the phone, and he just discards the phone where he's talking to the Steelers. It's literally the Toy Story meme where he's like dropping Woody. Incredible stuff.
That's amazing.
Did you hear this? I think it was like, I don't know if it was, I think it was just like kind of a rumor. I don't think it's been confirmed, but somebody said that because Dallas was on the clock, right? And they were saying that Dallas knew, like somebody communicated with the Steelers, and the Steelers were like, we're taking Mekhi Lemon. And then Dallas reached out to Philly knowing that they wanted Mekhi Lemon and said, hey, do you want to come up?
What?
And then they got like, what, two fourth-round picks?
So that's crazy if that's true, because it was already strange that the Cowboys traded with the Eagles at all, right? You know, the interdivisional thing. So like if they were specifically like, hey, we know the Eagles like this guy, let's help him get the guy. Yeah. Why? I mean, I guess because you want the fourths, but that's not normal, you know? That's not how they usually play this stuff. It's probably smarter to do it that way. Like the idea that you can't trade in division is kind of dumb, I think. Like do what's best for your team.
Exactly. Yeah. But, yeah. You're trying to improve your team. You're not trying to like block another team, right? Like don't worry about other teams.
It's kind of like drafting, right? Like if you're like, don't be the guy who like snipes
naked Burrow
in the fourth because you're worried about it's kind of like that. They were good. They let him get Burrow, and they got some fourths out of it. But the other receivers, you know, because early on it wasn't clear if, you know, Tyson would go ahead of Lemon, or if Tate would go ahead of Tyson or whatever. But Tate goes fourth, Tyson goes eighth. What are your thoughts on those landing spots and kind of I mean, I assume the coach speak is like, we love this guy, but any thoughts on kind of the landscape now?
Yeah, good landing spots for both of them. I've seen some people be down on Tyson's landing spot. I think that's ridiculous. I think this is like one of the best landing spots that he could have gone to with Kellen Moore and the pace that the Saints play with, and I just think that's going to be a really good offense for fantasy this year.
I'm not quite as bullish. I don't think it's bad, but I think it's fine. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think. So for me, it's that situation of, okay, Carnell Tate will be in a spot where like he's going to be the number one receiver. He's going to get a bigger target share than Jordan Tyson. But I think the Saints offense is going to score a lot more points than the Titans.
I think it could.
A lot more snaps. Really, you think there's like a question there? I mean, obviously.
Yeah, because I don't think my thing is I don't know that Tyler Shuck's good.
Okay.
Like I think Tyler Shuck is like probably good, probably okay, but he's not. I don't think he's great.
Okay, but I remember you also not being high on Cam Ward last.
I'm not high on Cam Ward. No, I'm not high on Cam Ward. But I do think what I worry with Shuck is that you hit kind of a ceiling on what he is. Like Shuck is sort of Mac Jonesy, let's say. That's what we, not to say that he's definitely that, but that's what we learned this year.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's not bad, but he's sort of like Mac Jones.
Yeah.
What we know, I think Kellen Moore will do in that type of situation, having kind of observed that the quarterback is like maybe hitting a ceiling a little bit, he'll run the ball. And they didn't have a running game last year at all. They didn't have a running back really. So they got a running back in free agency. And I could see them really leaning on the run like he did, 2 years ago, and having this be a pretty low volume passing game, one that's surprisingly low volume compared to last year. And given that Olave is also good, I think that there's some downside to this. I think there's upside too, but I don't It's not, I feel like it's a fine landing spot. I'm not one that I'm like especially excited about. The Tate one, I think, is like if you like, you probably want to take maybe some uppers and some hallucinogens, but you can get there on the Titans where it's like day ball. They're gonna pass. They still don't have a running game. It's like their running game's Pollard again. Like, this is they kind of keeps. They're not. I don't know if there's any juice left here. So if they need to score points, they're just going to drop back a bunch. It'll probably look like last year where that sucks and doesn't score many points. But they brought in Robinson, they brought in Tate, and we know Dayball's down to pass it. So I don't know. I kind of feel like we could, at the high end, Tate's landing spot's actually kind of exciting to me. I do think Cam Ward's probably not very good, but the film guys do like him, so I'm willing to leave the light on a little bit on like a ceiling type of view. But I think both landing spots have pluses and minuses, basically.
Pat, you had me at uppers and hallucinogens. Okay,
that's what I need. I'm trying to envision the ceiling. It's yeah. And by the way, I'm saying I might need to combine them. Like, this is
Wolf of Wall Street style.
Yeah,
Pat walking to his helicopter in the morning.
No.
I'll take Cardinal Tate in the 6.
This is me crawling to the car.
Yeah, crawling down the stairs.
Yeah,
thinking that like you nailed it when you got home. But then fast forward to 6 months later, and you're like, oh no, what did I draft?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the Titans offense to me.
On Carnell Tate, I thought it was so Mike Borgonzi, the general manager there, in his press conference after they took Tate, kept talking about like what a big vertical threat he is, like how great he is downfield, and like obviously very efficient route running, exceptional ball skills, like able to track the football. But I'd say like 75% of the theme and like everything that they were talking about Carnell Tate is like, this guy's a monster downfield. It's like, okay, well, they obviously have a vision for this guy. They asked him if Tate's going to be an X for them, and Borgonzi said, I think we can move him all around. He's played inside and outside. He's played X and he's played Z. So interesting what that'll look like there with obviously Daboll loves Wan'Dale Robinson, and that was a guy who was mainly slot up until like last year while Daboll was with the Giants, and then we saw like some real vertical threat from Wan'Dale. So yeah, maybe they just like want to sling that thing this year.
Well, that's and I've not been a Ward guy really. I didn't think he was a great prospect. I mean, I think it's like Fernando Mendoza is a similar level prospect, but I'm not a huge Mendoza guy either. It's like, yeah, I get it. Like if I had the number 1 pick this year, I would have taken Mendoza. I probably would have taken Carter last year if I were the Titans, but I totally understand just taking the quarterback that's there. But if you're thinking about the way that Ward hits, it's like he's this big dude, pocket passer, pretty big arm, willing to take chances downfield, and you just like straight up load him up with volume. It's like Winston. It's like Jameis Winston, Blake Bortles from back in the day, where like, you know what, let's just like pass through it, and he's going to make some really weird mistakes, but those mistakes come from him being willing to take chances and follow through on like, risky throws that almost no other quarterback's making these days. And maybe that's actually good in this meta where, defenses are really challenging offenses to push past like the easy button stuff. Like you're going to have, if you want explosive, you're going to have to like take chances. That's kind of what defenses are saying. Like Ward's cool with that. He's really cool with that. So, from Tate's perspective, even though I am pretty skeptical on Ward's ability to like string together enough positive plays to generate like efficient offense over the course of the game. However, Matt Harmon was like really bullish on Tate in his write-up and his charting of his route running. And I think one thing that some undercover upside for me with Tate is that this guy won downfield 10+ yard routes is where 10+ yard targets is where his production was being generated. He's not a big yak guy, which, from an upside perspective, you don't love that. But I think his ability to draw targets is something that was actually a little bit hidden at Ohio State because he was playing alongside Jeremiah Smith. And
Yeah,
this Jeremiah Smith is like a Julio Jones level prospect. Like
absolutely.
he might be a Calvin Johnson level prospect. Like this dude it's hard to overstate how good a prospect Jeremiah Smith currently is, and he hasn't even played his final season yet. Like he's going to be one of the all-time wide receiver prospects. I refuse to like dog Tate who had a 30% dominator rating last year playing alongside Smith, which is really good with over 3 yards per route run. I refuse to be like his targets per route run wasn't elite. Like so what? Like he's gonna have, that's the hardest target competition he will ever have his entire career.
Yep.
Like he can play 15 years in the NFL. He's never gonna have harder target competition from a wide receiver one than he had as a college player. It's crazy. Like it really is. So I think Tate's ability to earn downfield targets consistently with this level of target competition is actually there's actually quite a bit of upside there. Maybe he's more of like a George Pickens, T. Higgins, Chris Olave type of guy where like there's not a ton of yak juice, and it's more about he gets consistent downfield targets. But it's always hard for me when we get overly precise about like he won't have a ton of yak and his targets per route run won't be higher than this. Like you don't know.
Yeah.
His targets per route run might be awesome.
Do you want to hear my floor and ceiling comps for Carnell
Yeah.
Tate?
Let's do it.
Floor comp, slightly worse slightly worse T. Higgins. All right. Ceiling, slightly better T. Higgins.
I'll give you, yeah. I'll say floor. I'm gonna get a little wider. I'll say floor. Carnell Tate is oops, you spent the rookie 102 or 103 on Romeo Doubs. Ceiling is Garrett Wilson with a deeper downfield target profile.
I like that. We throw around the term generational prospect all the time, but Jeremiah Smith is like generational prospect. So when I hear people saying like, "Oh, Tate was number 2 on his own," like he was number 2 to God. Okay.
Yeah, you don't.
Fine.
So was Jesus, by the way. Okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't get first billing either,
Right.
So yeah, I'm pretty high on Tate. I'm excited about him. I do think that the Tyson is a strong bet too, though. I'm just not. I don't love the landing spot, but I moved up on him as well. So I think it's overall like to me actually the bigger thing was dude went 8th overall. That's pretty bullish.
Yeah. Some
pretty
people
bullish.
thought he was, because of the medical concerns, going to fall into like the 20s. Like I saw him in the 20s in several mock drafts. Can we drill down a little bit further on the Saints real quick? Because there's another very interesting pick that they made in Oscar Delp later in the draft, and it made me like immediately think back to last offseason when Kellen Moore was talking about, he said, a big emphasis for me is being able to put out as many personnel packages as possible. And then they end up running 12 personnel at 17%, which was the 9th lowest rate in the league. 13 personnel was at 8%. And I think some of that is also inflated because of Taysom Hill being designated as a tight end. And then, of course, they had the packages with him, which were a little bit unusual. I think they are going to try to do some more 12 personnel this year with Oscar Delp, who's a good, inline tight end, and then Juwan Johnson out as the F there. Another thing that has stood out to me in pressers for the last several months is they keep bringing up Devon Vele's name, and even just like unprompted, like not being asked about Devon Vele, just like being asked about the offense, and they're like Chris and Jordan and Devon. So I think he's a good late round
Interesting
pick. Like he's going to be out there in 11 personnel.
Do you think he's the slot? He's not the slot, right? He's going to be on the outside.
I think they could absolutely use him as a big slot, because one of the things that they really like about him is his hands and over the middle in traffic, sort of a like Jawan Jennings, third and Jawan type player, third and Devon. Trademark it, put it on a shirt, sell a couple of those outside the Saint Stadium, the Superdome. But yeah, I think we will just see this offense be a little more versatile this year, and I think that just helps the offense as
yeah. Well, on the one of the other and thank you to people in comments who are saying that DraftKings has launched. I do see that it has, so we'll fire up a draft here shortly. But before we do that, I want to ask you about another team that drafted not one but two tight ends. The Jaguars, who took Nate Borkature and Tanner Koziol.
Yeah.
From a fantasy perspective, like profile wise, they actually come out the same tier for me as like a third round rookie pick type of guy. That's where like Elijah Arroyo was last year. So it's not like you're not excited about these guys in best ball, but they're both. I would to me what it says is that like I don't really get what they were doing with the Borkature pick. That seems like a waste of a second round pick to me. Trade for Darnell Washington if you're trying to run more 12. Sign Jonnu Smith if you want like a big slot guy, and that's more Koziol, I think. But
yeah,
I don't love what they're doing. I think what to me, like, I'm not even sure I care what the plan is, because I think it's a bad plan. But what do you think the plan is for the Jags, given that they spent 2 picks and one a pretty premium pick on tight end?
Yeah, so I have a theory on what they were doing here. I think people just assume that okay, they drafted 2 tight ends, like they're gonna run a lot of 12 personnel, like they're following in this trend. I think that would probably not be smart when you have like 4 really good receivers in Jacoby Myers and Brian Thomas Jr. and Parker Washington and Travis Hunter. Now, really good receivers, good receivers, right? Like NFL starter receivers who have been productive when they have been out on the field.
This is better than when the Packers acted like they had a million good receivers. That's for sure.
Yeah,
you know, these are all pretty good receivers.
They're legitimate receiving threats. Yeah, like any team would be glad to be trotting these guys out onto the field. I think to like suddenly switch to 12 and 13 personnel style offense would be pretty dumb on their behalf, even if they were to trade away like Brian Thomas Jr. and just have a few of these guys. My theory on them selecting these tight ends, first of all, for Koziol, is that how it's pronounced? Koziol?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
So for him,
this might be the last time we talk about him all summer. So.
For him, Gladstone talked about him like how you just did. That Gladstone loves saying that a guy has a superpower, and people got like really, oh my god, they said Chris Rodriguez is a superhero and he has superpower. This is something that James Gladstone says a lot. Like he's just saying like this guy has
They're just like increasingly less impressive superpowers.
Yeah, this guy has a specific skill set and he can't do much else. This is his superpower.
That's a superpower. Like Mr. That's actually kind of a drawback.
Mr. Fantastic stretches really far. That's a superpower. It doesn't mean that he's impressive and a person that you would want on your team, but he does this specific thing for us. And yeah, Gladstone said that his superpower is that he catches the football, right? He's a good receiver.
Are you familiar with the show Drops of God? It's an Apple TV
the wine
show.
one. Yeah.
It's the wine show, yeah.
Yeah.
And they put out a second season, and I was realizing that it's a superhero show, but the superpower is that she can see colors when she drinks wine.
Yeah.
Because now there's like another character who's now also like he drinks wine and then he teleports somewhere in his mind. Like this superpower sucks. Like,
Oh my god.
you can't fly or anything.
Yeah. Jubilee. Oh, she can create fireworks. Cool. Jason Pierre-Paul is real scared of her.
Yeah. You probably need a little bit better of a superpower than being able to catch if you're an NFL player.
Yeah. And then he specifically said that like he's a good red zone target. But this Nate Berkature pick, my theory behind these tight end selections, which I've said several times now and not actually gotten to the point. But all right, here is my theory. This is for a 4-minute offense at the end of games. Like I don't think they're going to transition to a 12 personnel team all of a sudden. I think this 12 personnel is for the end of games where you have Brenton Strange, who is a mauler as a blocker, also good receiving tight end. And then you have Borkature, who's a very good run blocker. They have talked about Chris Rodriguez as a compliment, and James Gladstone talked about him having a certain superpower.
Oh my God.
And that superpower is, he's a very tough in between the tackles grinder. He's a guy who can get you, 3, 4, 5 yards at a time. I think that Chris Rodriguez is their 4-minute back at the end of games when they are trying to salt games away. And we saw this last year with the Jags, who were unable to do this in some games where they're leading at the end and they're not able to close it out. So they signed Chris Rodriguez, and they already have this vision of what they need to do, the kind of offense that they need to build for this 4-minute offense. And they needed another, really good run blocking tight end paired with Brenton Strange, who's also a good pass catcher. So you set that up a little bit earlier in the game, right? You do trot some 12 personnel out there. You put Rodriguez out there. You pound the rock. At the end of the game, you do the same thing. And if people try to get like too close in on you, then boom, little play action to Brenton Strange, and you have another first down, and the clock keeps moving. I believe that is what this Berkature pick was for.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little skeptical of the 4-minute thing, in part because like we hear stuff like this from like the Patriots last year said that Terrell Jennings, I think, was their 5-minute back. So he was he got an extra minute. But he wasn't really their 5-minute back. It was their third string running back. So
I think they meant 5 minutes for the entire season.
Season. That actually does chat. Someone should. That might have actually been true. He might have gotten 5 minutes of cumulative playing time. So that part of it, I'm like, these hyper specific plans, like they kind of don't survive contact with reality often. And then it also kind of feels like the 2025 Washington Commanders school of team building, where like you have this really good rookie season, for the coach, and then they're like, great, we're a playoff team now. Let's like solve a like more, a specific thing. We're good. We don't need to like bring in, young baseline kind of foundational players at key positions. We can focus on our 4-minute offense. So, it feels like they're getting ahead of themselves a little bit if that's the plan to me. But I mean, as far as the theory goes, it makes as sense to me as anything else, because I just don't really get why you would take Borkature. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe he's awesome, but it doesn't look that way to me.
By the way, Terrell Jennings last year played 39 snaps. about 5 minutes worth.
That's about 5 minutes of football. That's so good. All right, let's let me ask you about the Jags backfield real quick, because that's one. I mean, and we can kind of talk briefly as well about some other potential veteran running back winners, because whether or not you're a Tootin guy or a Rodriguez guy, maybe a little bit of both, there was a winner in the Jags backfield, right? If you're a JCM guy in Washington, or you're into Rashad White, maybe you like both, maybe you want to dabble with some Katron Allen. There's, I would say, you know, those two veterans won, even if you don't mind taking Allen. In Tennessee, Singleton, I think, is a viable pick, but like, especially Pollard now looks like a winner. The Panthers guys both look like winners, Chuba and Brooks. So there's some like key backfields that they just didn't add anybody. I would even put in Dallas, like Javonte Williams comes out super clean. A player that I would have expected at least some competition for. Maybe not, given how kind of ridiculous Dallas is. It didn't actually really surprise me they didn't draft anyone, but normally, you know, a player like that, you'd get some kind of competition for. So free agency and the draft has ended. This is a kind of more or less who we're looking at. Like, there's not that many running backs on free agency left. I mean, Najee Harris will probably sign somewhere, but it's, you know, who knows what he has left off the Achilles. So a lot of these veteran running backs are looking a little bit cleaner than they probably had a right to, really. The Jags one, how do you view that one? And then kind of curious what other teams you're excited about post-draft at the running back position.
Yeah, the Jags, they've talked about how, like, we'll see what happens when, you know, we get to the spring and training camp, and like, we're gonna see how the backfield shakes out there. Liam Cohen has also talked about how last year Bashal Tootin was like so focused on not fumbling, that was like always in his mind, and how he started to be able to, like, okay, I've got that down, and now, like, let's be creative. Like, let's, like, all right, that's a problem that's fixed, and now, like, let's just go out in there and play. And we heard during last offseason that, like, it sounded like, not that it was taking a while for Bashal Tootin, but this is a very intricate offense that Liam Cohen runs. He's like, yeah, he's in the classroom, like, he's learning the 5 tracks of a running back, and now he's had this entire rookie season to, like, learn that stuff, to get the ball security stuff down to the point where it's just kind of second nature, right? And then what I think is very bullish is Liam Cohen talking about they want to do more screen game, and not just with the receivers, but also with the running back. Well, when we talk about the Jags backfield, right, and Tootin and Rodriguez, I think there's one point that I just, like, cannot get over, and that's the fact that Chris Rodriguez is a 0 in the passing game.
Yeah,
you cannot have that guy be your lead back in a Liam Cohen offense. That just, like, really restricts you in what you're able to do. So,
and Tootin is not. Tootin is a capable receiver.
Absolutely.
Even though they have Allen as kind of the long down and distance guy.
Yeah.
Tootin can catch the ball.
Yes.
Like ETN last year.
Exactly. So I think Tootin steps into that that Travis Etienne role, and Chris Rodriguez is what they have been referring to him as, which is a compliment. So he'll get kind of that Tootin stuff from last year. You know, they'll use him for grinding out some yardage during the game, and I think he's their 4-minute back to close out
4-minute for the entire year.
The real question for me is what happens at the goal line. Like, who's the back that they're going to use there? We know that they love Bashal Tootin as a short yardage back. They talked about it quite a bit last year with Liam Cohen.
He was really good in success rate as well.
Yes. Yeah, they said that like he's never going backwards. He's quick
Yeah.
to and through the hole,
Yeah.
which is a thing that we like a phrase that we heard from Liam Cohen back in 2024 when he was the Bucks offensive coordinator in the offseason there. He was saying, yeah, quick to and through the hole is what I'm looking for in a running back. And then they described Tootin as, he takes the ball and he's immediately through the hole. So that's very bullish.
And
For
he's
him.
a pretty stout running back. Like
Yeah.
he packs a punch, but he's like, he's not huge. He's not that tall. So yeah, I think he's a good short yardage back. Like he was a good short yardage back last year. He profiled like he would be. He is also explosive. I think that's with Tootin. He wasn't explosive last year, but he runs a sub 4.40.
Yes,
I
and
think he can turn in some long runs on a bigger
yeah.
sample. That seems like a pretty reasonable bet.
And when you're looking at the explosive run rate from last year, one thing that a lot of people are not factoring in is the fact that so many of Tootin's carries were short yardage. So that is obviously going to bring that down.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he didn't have like any real long runs last year, which is a little bit disappointing, but also like, I don't know, he didn't have that many. That's like the funny thing with Tootin and why, I've been ahead of the market on Tootin the whole way, including last year, which didn't really pay off. But I've been in on Tootin, and if you tell me that, hey, here's this explosive running back, he's got a sub 4.40, and he was explosive in college. He has like a resume of ripping off long runs. That's part of his game. You're going to have a limited rookie sample. You can either have him be super consistent and the long runs just aren't there, or he's super inconsistent and he rips off some long runs. Give me the consistency all day, because that's how you become a lead running back. That's how you win over your coaches. Like the alternative is like,
RJ,
is this guy going to play? Are you a change of pace running back now? Right. That's where I'd be a lot more concerned actually with the Chris Rodriguez edition. I was like, well, Rodriguez is consistent and Tootin just wasn't. Tootin was super consistent last year. It's a little more like Travion Henderson, right? Travion Henderson he wasn't super inconsistent, but he wasn't nearly as consistent as Tootin. And then you're like, damn, is he going to be able to displace Ramondre on the early down stuff when they need those yards? They need them. Are they going to put Henderson out there, or are they going to put Ramondre out there? It makes you a little more nervous that way. So now, of course, Henderson also was super explosive, which is fun. But when I think about like Tootin, this runway for him of becoming a true lead back, I like that he was really consistent. I would trade some long runs to get that.
Yeah.
The coach pet narrative for who?
I'm guessing
this question.
Rodriguez from Kentucky.
Interesting. Does that do anything for you?
I mean, he's familiar with him, but like
it might explain why he was signed in the first place as much as that they're going to use him. I think they would. Yeah. I tend to be, I want to bet on the guys I think are really talented, and stuff like that'll kind of work out.
I just can't get over how much Chris Rodriguez limits the full capability of what you can
what Cohen wants to do.
Play caller. Yeah.
I think that's very sharp. But of course, I am a Tootin guy. So, any other I've mentioned a bunch of backfields a few minutes ago. Any other of those jump out to you as like ones you're excited to invest in post draft, or any particular players that you're now more excited about?
Well, I was already excited about Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah, I was going to say Brooks too.
I'm even more excited now. I mean, everything that they've been saying about him throughout the entire offseason, Canales saying that, yeah, he's going to have an opportunity to be the starter. I don't, man, it's interesting because I don't love Chuba Hubbard as a running back, right? I think he's like a pretty average running back. I do know that Canales likes him a lot. But if, Jonathan Brooks were to get injured again, or if he doesn't look even close to the prospect that we thought he was, like I would be fine, I think, with like an 80% of what we thought Jonathan Brooks was. I think that would still probably be better than what Chuba Hubbard brings to the table. But Hubbard becomes a very interesting pick if like it's just not there
Yeah.
for Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Hubbard's a winner, but I think he's going to move up in price. Brooks so far hasn't moved up a ton that I've seen. I've only done one draft, so we'll see. But I kind of like I'm excited about Brooks post draft. And I'm going to continue to get more excited, I think, if we continue to get positive news. I'm trying to like maintain a little bit of caution on Brooks, given that we haven't it's not that we haven't even seen him play, which we really haven't, but like I haven't even seen like workout videos or anything. Give me like just a little more signs of life, like OTA, like, hey, Brooks, man, this dude looks good. Like
Canales said he's big and beautiful looking.
Well, big. I don't want to hear beautiful because that's beautiful implies
like
stationary.
That's like who said this line? Dave Canales or Donald Trump? He's big and beautiful looking.
I'm not picking Canales. I'll tell you that. I think. I mean, beautiful. You don't need to be moving. I want adjectives that require movement.
Yeah.
Let's jump in a DraftKings draft here. This is the new DraftKings Best Ball Millionaire tournament, which has $25 to enter. I believe it was $20 last year, and $3 million to first. I believe it was $2 last year.
$2 million a second and $1 million.
$2 million to second and $1 million to third, which is pretty fun stuff here.
Yeah.
And there's like 500,000 to fourth. There's like good payouts here. I think it feels like that extra $5 went to good use.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited. We'll be doing this every week as part of this stream, jumping in DraftKings draft, and normally I'll have up the legendary upside sidekick, which is a dynamic rankings tool. This week we're working on getting that launched. Wanted to literally this slate launched during the stream, so I can't have that up for this one. But if you're curious about that, head over to legendaryupside.com/sidekick, the top dynamic best ball rankings tool in the industry. It's driven by Shady Advice's Sims, which make it quite powerful. And the beautiful thing about it too is it can adjust to the contest format, because I believe DraftKings launched not just this contest but several other types of best ball. So different payout structures, different final sizes. That's all going to different entry fees. We got a 3180 entry fee tournament here. The 555 is alive. So the 555 has a different tournament structure, different final size. Top 2 out of 8 advanced in round 2, top 1 out of 8, and then there's a 52 player final, which is pretty different than this tournament here, where it's 2 of 12, 1 of 12, 1 of 12, and then 1,089. So Sidekick can help you dial in your approach to the specific tournament and an entry fee and all of that. But for now, we're just going to be raw dogging it. Yeah, we are.
Everyone knows that the best ball winner is drafted on April 27th, raw dog style.
That's right. That's just a known fact.
I mean, come on. Everybody's saying it.
Everyone says it. All right, one more. If you guys want to jump in, we got one more
Not
spot
if you're
here.
going to snipe us.
Don't snipe us. Well, you don't even know where you are. You might be on the other side of the board.
Be nice.
You might jump into snipe us and have no shot of doing it. Have you? I guess no. I know the answer to this question. You haven't drafted on here yet because it just launched. All right, 6. We're right in the middle of the board.
Beautiful.
Kind of a fun spot to feel it out. Mac Nova, who won $1 million on DraftKings last year, is in here. Welcome. Yeah, we've got some good drafters in here. All right, so We have ADP here that looks pretty normal. Love. What are your thoughts on Love with the Arizona landing spot? He was kind of more mid-second. You think he drops a bit?
Yeah. I don't know if it's like a worse landing spot than the Giants would have been. I think it's a better landing spot than New York. Obviously not nearly as good of a landing spot as Washington would have been. I think Tennessee would have been messy as well. So this is probably better than Tennessee and the Giants. But like, make no mistake, he is going to be a bell cow for them. It's funny. Austin Fort, they asked him about it. He was like, yeah, it's a good running back room. He kept saying that, listen, the competition is going to take care of itself. Mike LaFleur talking about how unique Jeremiah Love is in all three phases, the run game, the pass game, and pass protection, which we know is like really big for rookie running backs. Like, he's just, they spent the 3rd overall pick on him. He's
the highest paid running back in the league, right?
Yeah, right out of the gate.
Seems bad, but
yes, it was a terrible pick,
terrible pick.
But he's going to get used a ton there.
That what I do appreciate about the pick is that, like, because my dad is a Notre Dame fan, he's like, he was excited about Jeremiah Love, and he's like, "What would you take him 3rd?" I was like, "No." I was like, "You think he's good?" I'm like, "I think he's great."
Yeah,
but like, it makes it. If I need to explain that position, saying he's the highest paid running back in the league, I think helps illustrate why I wouldn't take him with that pick. I do like it made it simple. It made the argument even more simple than it already was.
Yeah, my concern is just how much is that offense going to score this year?
Yeah. What do you like here?
Oh man. Well, I mean, what's your preference? Because this 6th spot is like really tough.
My preference is one of the running backs.
Okay.
But I don't have a strong preference between the two.
I mean, full PPR, I guess let's go McCaffrey.
McCaffrey's like, it's either not going to work at all, or this just made our lives like immensely easier.
Yes. Or at the end of the season, we're like, he did it again.
He did it again.
RB1, we got him with the 6th pick.
Yeah. And I think in best ball too, there's something to, like, whenever he's McCaffreying, like if he plays 10 games this year, at the 6th pick, like, that hurts. But his, like, as long as he McCaffrey's in those 10 games, I think we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that hurts our advance potential, but
you're not worried about Kalen Black?
I'm not worried about Kalen Black. If we get McCaffrey, if this team gets through and you have healthy McCaffrey in the playoffs, you almost want him to have not had a full season, right? Yeah. Like, now you like go back and like, give me as few games as possible before this point, because I don't want other McCaffrey teams.
Yeah, I'm digging up dirt on him to try to get him suspended for the first 6 games of the year.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where, because you can't find guys on the waiver wire and all that, like, if he does the McCaffrey thing for enough games, it's just kind of hard to pass on. Walker I like here. McBride I like. Neighbors I've been avoiding. Bowers goes so late here, it's possible he would come back, which makes makes McBride like maybe slightly less interesting to me.
I've got one that I love here. We'll see.
Okay, good.
We'll see if they come off or not. It's between. Okay, so McBride goes off. I love Chase Brown.
Okay,
middle 2nd round. Like that. This is another huge winner from the draft.
He is a big winner. I think Brown to me is going to be a guy I take some of in best ball, and I don't take much in like redraft. I just don't see the ceiling on him. He feels a little bit to me like Javonte. Like you're betting on the offense more than the player. You're betting on the role more than the talent. And so in the middle of the 2nd, it doesn't get me excited, but I also want to do a fair amount of RB starts this year. I want to do a fair amount of starts. So I have 3 running backs through 4. Because running back that if you don't take the running backs early, it is, especially right now. Like maybe I won't feel this way in August, but right now I just don't have the confidence in the running backs later of who they are, of identifying them correctly in a format where I have to stick with the picks for the entire year. I don't get the waiver wire,
especially this early in draft season when so much is unclear on the depth charts.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think especially for best ball as well, like Brown does have some appeal. Who else is going to get that work?
Yeah, I mean, probably one of the highest scoring offenses in the league.
But if I was just doing whatever I wanted here, I would have said Bowers. Just give me the guy, like give me JSN with tight end eligibility. That's where I think we might be headed.
I like that. When you said that he might come back around, I was like kind of hoping for that, basically. Like if you didn't think there was any way that he would come back, I would have been.
He probably doesn't get to 30, but I mean his ADP is so much later than I feel like it should be. But yeah, I like taking Brown here and seeing how it plays out, because I do think that getting the running backs early, and sometimes on DraftKings the running backs get snapped up actually even earlier, where you have the full PPR. We want to have a lot of receiver depth, but sometimes it can be hard to balance both. So Brown, I think, has some value for us early. We've got Shakeups coming back, ETN. There's still some running backs here. The receivers, I don't love, like Olave was a loser from the draft. Higgins is fine. Higgins actually is kind of interesting as a bet on the Bengals with Brown.
Yeah. Hopefully there's no naked Burrow guys out there.
And then the other pick I would take is actually Jacobs, as kind of like a hyper fragile thing.
Yeah.
I think Olave went. Okay. I think I'd be Higgins here.
Yeah, let's do Higgins.
Bet on the Bengals.
What could go wrong?
I think we'll get a running back in the next 2 rounds. Maybe even someone we talked about at the top of the show. And then I don't know, I feel pretty good. As much as I talked about the early running back stuff, I don't think you have to go running back with McCaffrey. Like, it's not, you don't got to be heavy. You just don't want to get thin.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, like, either it works or it doesn't with McCaffrey, right? Either like you're taking a huge shot here, but like you mentioned, like maybe it's a thing where you need some chaperones here if he does miss a little bit of time, and then you're looking pretty great come the playoffs. I mean, this Josh Allen ADP that we've been seeing compared to the rest of the quarterbacks is just crazy.
I don't get it at all. We were testing the Sidekick, and it recommended Josh Allen, and we were like, there's some bug when we.
You had to take it out behind the barn.
We did, but like it actually was right. We were like, nope, there's a thing, and then we're like, oh, yep. So we're getting it sorted in the for the new slate, but that's how we knew. I don't understand. I mean, from an opportunity cost perspective, and then a relative price perspective, I just don't get it.
Yeah, right. Relative to where like Jaden Daniels,
even Lamar,
Jalen Hurts, Lamar, yeah.
May was outscoring this guy in the fantasy playoffs last year. I know the actual NFL playoffs weren't so fun,
and but he's gonna have AJ Brown.
He's gonna have AJ Brown, guys. Come on, what are we doing? You're gonna take him like 30 picks
behind
Allen? That seems like a value.
And I want to be clear, I'm not.
Oh, Brees coming back would have been so fun.
Oh my god! No. I love that he's going here though. Oh boy,
Brees, or Allen?
Brees.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'd love to be able to scoop him up in the fourth. Good lord,
God.
Full PPR too.
I know, man. What do you have your eye on here?
Can you pull it back up? What are the running backs? What's that situation?
Irving, I think, is somewhat interesting.
He is interesting. Loveland really stands out to me as well. I don't know if you're. I would say between Loveland and Irving.
Let's go Irving.
Okay. And we can talk about Bucky here for a second as well, because this is an interesting situation, and I know a lot of people are scared off of him because of what happened last year, but I think that's like pretty explainable what happened when you look at, like, he got injured, I believe, for the first time in his career, like really kind of injured and missing time. And Todd Bowles said that, yeah, he had a really tough time dealing with that mentally coming back, and you kind of saw that. They want him to be a big part of this game. My concern would be the Sean Tucker stealing goal line touches from Bucky, but like what we saw in his rookie year, like that was real stuff. This guy has juice. He's so good at forcing missed tackles, and just a very exciting player who we know can put up some really big weeks
and can catch the ball.
Yeah.
I know Gainwell potentially eats into that a bit, but he's a versatile player.
Todd
player
Bowles. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Todd Bowles, March 30th, was asked whether there will be a competition for RB1. He said Bucky Irving is number one, obviously. Kenneth Gainwell is 1B. Bucky is 1A. Kenneth is 1B. I think it'll be a great 1-2 punch, but Bucky will be the starter for sure.
He had 1.62 yards per route run as a rookie, which was pretty exciting. He was at 1.49 last year. That's a pretty good mark for a running back. He's not a good pass blocker, but they still use him as a running back, or as a pass catching running back on early downs. And I don't think that's going to change. Like he's got that versatility and kind of well-rounded. Now, his goal line stuff is maybe not so well-rounded. And Tucker is awesome at the goal line. So that does have me a little concerned, but I do think that running back catch the ball on first and second down. It's not that you have to be a third down running back to get receptions.
Zach Robinson, February 10th. I see Bucky in a very similar light to Bijan there with what he can do in the passing game. And there's not a run concept that he can't run. I know that there's a ton of meat on the bone in the passing game.
Hell yeah. All right, so Tootin goes, who I was like, oh, wouldn't that be fun? Scadaboo's here. That is kind of fun at running back. Mike Evans, though, I love here as our wide receiver, too.
100,000 targets for Mike Evans this year.
This is a jam for us, I think. If we had gone Adams or Waddle or Burden here, I would be happy to take Scadaboo, I think. I mean, Evans would still be awesome. But, man, Bucky and Evans is a really, really nice combo.
One point on, people are talking about Jackson Dart's play style being reckless. Also, Scadaboo, same kind of thing. I think they're bad for each other. Because
I do too.
Friends,
yeah.
You're like,
off the field bad.
It's like it's like having two devils on your shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Like just one of them, right? Like you can kind of teach them and driving into their heads that, listen, like, don't be so reckless out there. We really need you. But when you have two of those guys and they're besties and they're just like pumping each other up and seeing who can bang their head against a brick wall the most times, not great.
It just feels like somehow they both became like seniors in high school and they're like skipping class.
Yeah.
They're coming in high. Like it has that vibe.
Two Spicolis.
Yeah. Two Spicolis. Yeah, I'm a little nervous about the There's sort of a it kind of multiplies itself,
Yeah. What if the ice climbers were meatheads?
Yeah. I like both players. I mean, I'm a pretty big fan of Dart. I don't like I wish that like he got Declan Doyle, instead of what's his face from the Chiefs, Matt Nagy. Ugh. Oh, this is us. Carnell Tate in the 6th seems awesome.
Yeah.
We could also get Burrow and lock up that.
I would really love Tate here.
I think we can bet on the Bengals without Burrow. Sure. Let's take Tate. And this is where I do think that like running back's starting to get sketchy, and you just don't have to worry about being in this range now. It gets a little sketchy after Price, and even maybe before Price, depending on how you feel about Price.
I'm a little worried about Price come playoff time, because Zach Charbonnet should be back by then, and we know how much they love Zach Charbonnet. I think Jadarian Price is one of the rare like rookie chaperones.
Oh man, rookie chaperone. I don't know if that's a thing. Like that's like, that's the chaperones are supposed to be older, and responsible.
Yeah.
For rookie chaperone, I mean, doing the rankings and stuff, and you go back and look at kind of lessons learned. Like it is surprising sometimes how you're like, man, this guy's going to hit the ground running. Who else is here? What choice do they have but to feed this rookie? Mm-hmm. They always have a choice.
Yeah.
He might not be ready. He was a college backup. By the way, I have like 24% Jadarian Price from the pre-draft period. Like I'm not out on him, but I'm just saying once the price jumps up, I think you do have to start to think about like, what if he doesn't hit the ground running, and then Charbonnet comes back? You could end up feeling pretty icky about him at, pick 65 instead of pick 95 or 105.
Yeah, I don't think Emmanuel Wilson is like the world's worst running back, and they do like Holani a little bit. I mean, Price is still, I would say, the clubhouse leader in terms of like who's going to be RB1, but it's not, I don't think it's some slam dunk.
Yeah. Who do you think the backup is? Osolani or Wilson there?
I think it's probably Wilson. But that is a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Also, man, let me see if I can find this. Mike McDonald had a quote on Kenny McIntosh.
We're on the clock real quick.
Okay.
The guys that jump out to me are at receiver. Lemon, Thomas would both be pretty strong picks, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm good with either of those.
We have Tate. I think Thomas might be a slightly better fit.
Sure, let's
for the team.
Yeah, maybe he gets shipped off to a really nice situation, but like we know what he's capable of. Like we saw it in his rookie year.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah, and I think Lemon is also a really good pick there too. It's kind of a just a tie-breaking sort of thing.
Mike McDonald on March 31st on Up and Adams said, we've got some good guys. George Halani definitely deserves a shout out. Kenny McIntosh had a great year in my first year in Seattle. He was on his way to carving out a great role last year. Unfortunately, he got hurt, but he's had enough time now to probably put himself into position where he can have a great offseason.
Interesting.
Rip it.
Man, that's just, it's May, man. That's some May stuff. There's going to be McIntoshes, you know?
Yeah.
There's going to be guys where we're like completely wrong about who the number 2 is. And I'm not that interested in forecasting in May Seattle's number 2 running back and then, you know, locking that into a team at a high rate. Like that's, I'm just going to be wrong a bunch. I'm going to be wrong about who the number 2 running back is on these really murky depth charts.
How many QBs have gone off the board here? Because I feel like it's about
32. Like a bunch. Yeah. Out of 32, it's accurate.
Be left with Spencer Rattler.
We have, you know, a stacking partner in Purdy. You can always, I do take Mahomes at a good clip where, you know, you can get a Kelsey, you can get a Worthy later. Lawrence is gone. We have Mayfield available for Irving.
Do you think Purdy would come back around to us? I mean, we have McCaffrey and Evans. Like, make Dart?
No, I don't think he will.
I don't think he will. Okay.
I mean, I kind of don't think he will because quarterbacks are flying off the board. His ADP, like I think unless you see a reason to. I mean, Metcalf, I suppose, is interesting here as another receiver.
I think I'd want Purdy or Dart here.
Let's go Purdy. Given that we have Evans and McCaffrey, I think that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah, we missed out on the Burrow.
Yeah. But that's fine.
What is the target share going to be combined between Mike Evans and Christian McCaffrey?
93%. McCaffrey's going to be like 35%. So now McCaffrey's probably 20, like seriously. And Mike Evans is 25, so 45% of the targets.
Yeah, especially if there are any injuries at wide receiver like we saw last year with the Niners, and Kyle Shanahan talked about this recently about like the reason that we had to play McCaffrey so much is because of what was happening at wide receiver, and like we had to get him out there in the passing game.
Yeah.
All right, Dart's gone.
At tight end, we're looking at Pitts, Laporta, Kittle. Receiver, Wandale. I don't think we need to force that. We have 4 receivers now. Receiver feels like slightly flat.
What's QB looking like?
QB's looking like the move to me. I think we want to live in this pocket. I don't see much opportunity cost. We don't really have any stacking partners, but we could always backdoor Bo Nix with, you know, some of the flyer guys. Kyler doesn't really need to be stacked so much. And then we do have Baker with Bucky. So I would be probably quarterback here.
Yeah. Love just went off, didn't he? Or did he not?
Did he? No, Love's still here.
Okay. Who would the Packers receivers still on the board be? I'm sure Watson's gone by now. Jaden Reed's probably gone by now, right?
I think Reed
Golden's there.
Did Reed go? I think Reed went. Golden's there, yeah. Reed's gone.
So what are you leaning then?
I would probably lean Kyler in that he's mobile. We don't really care if we stack him. We could always get Hawkinson later. We don't have a tight end. But Nix would be fine too. Love would be fine. But I think quarterback's the best move here, given that there's not a lot else I like.
I'm down for Nix, Kyler, or Love.
Pick one.
Let's go Nix.
Okay.
I think he could be fine if we have to do him naked.
I think he's totally fine naked. And like the thing is, like, we have Purdy, Evans, and McCaffrey. When the stack, I'm a big fan of stacking, but I kind of want I want it to open up a path to like an absolute smash type of week.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to get like too cute where I'm like punting off advance rate and even like 1 of 12 type of advance rate. We're like, okay, I had a bunch of guys go nuts this week. I just need a good quarterback score, but I didn't take an unstacked quarterback in a great pick, but he was unstacked, so I didn't take him. And then I took a really crappy quarterback late.
And Nix has
instead
had monster weeks.
Right, Nix has got a weekly ceiling for sure. And I mean, we could have taken Kittle there. We didn't need it. We didn't have a tight end, but with off the injury, it's a little tricky.
I think
I'd rather
in these DK drafts where they're 20 rounds. I mean, like late 4 tight end builds,
totally
very viable. Get Stowers in there as one of those 4 guys, and you're cooking.
If we have a chance to take Kyler or Baker here, I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and we will.
Beautiful.
We have 4 receivers. So Baker goes. I think we just grab Kyler.
Let's do it. And we're good. We're good.
We're good at quarterback. This has been such a pocket where it's comfy to be here. You could have, I think there's an argument maybe for taking Cam Ward and not taking Kyler here. But like, I don't know, like if Josh Downs was here, I would have been excited about that. I'm a big fan of him, and I think he has a chance now to play more. He was actually at 75% route participation in each of his first 2 years, and then he dropped to like 65% last year. And I think we could see that come back up. He's not going to ever be like a true full-time player, but they really need. I'm skeptical that Alec Pierce is what they kind of are hoping he'll be.
And Pierce is going to have 3 months off now after this ankle surgery thing. Yeah, and they are experimenting. Shane Steichen last week said that during the spring we're going to put Josh Downs on the outside and see how that.
Hell yeah, man! I love hearing that.
We know he's a very good receiver. We know he's a really good route runner. It's just a question of like how effective is he on the outside, and I mean, who are their other options there?
It's like Ashton Doolin.
Yeah,
like there really aren't other options because they got rid of A.D. Mitchell.
Akine, right?
Nick Westbrook-Akine, I guess, but he had less than $200,000 guaranteed. He might not be on the roster.
I also wonder if we will see some formations where Tyler Warren is on the outside and Josh Downs is in the slot in that F position.
Wow, that would be interesting.
Two receiver sets.
That'd be super interesting. What are your thoughts on this pick? We're about to be up again.
So we need a tight end, right?
Yeah. Tight end or receiver. I mean, I think I like Shakir a bit, but I think tight end would be the other pick.
Okay. Man. I don't think Kincaid is a terrible pick.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. And So yeah,
They
now that
they
it's
came out recently, right, and said, obviously we're gonna kinda keep managing him. We gotta manage his knee and all that,
yes.
which you don't love, but I also, don't think that's anything. Like, what are they supposed to say?
Hmm.
Like, they haven't seen, you know what I mean? Like, it's no football has happened since the last football, and the last time we had them playing football, which Brady was the OC for, they were managing his knee, and so they're like, "Yeah, we're planning, we probably have to do that." But, it could be the case that he comes back, his knee's he's feeling a little more spry, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't love a team saying that we're going to manage this guy during the
I don't either.
season 6 months out
I don't
from,
either.
from the season. But I will tell you what is very bullish is that their general manager Brandon Bean a couple months ago said like I did this study and we found out that when Dalton Kincaid um, like was on the field or when he was playing, we scored 7 more points per game than when he was off. And then Joe Brady like reiterated that as well in a later press conference. So they're
Mm.
they're very aware how much better Dalton Kincaid makes the offense when he is out there. So yeah, I think it's going to be pretty similar to last year, where he's obviously not playing a ton of snaps, but very effective when he is.
It's not I'm not seeing a ton I like here overall.
This is disgusting.
Uh, Goddard would be okay, I think.
Mhm.
Do Shaheed might be okay. He kinda came out
I like
clean.
Shahid. I like Shahid.
Okay, let's do Shaheed.
That's another pretty ugly receiver room there. Obviously GSN and Shahid, who they just gave a giant bag of money to, and then you've got 87-year-old Cooper Cup, who we saw was like, you know, pretty washed last year. Torrey Horton has been
Torrey Horton, yeah.
dealing with this shin for what feels like nine 9 months now. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell is going on with that shin, man?
I'm glad we took, Kincaid. I was hoping Kelsey might come back. Gadsden, I think, is interesting.
Gadsden's very interesting to me when you look at Mike McDaniel's history with tight ends who are not great at blocking but offer so much in the pass game. We saw it with Jonnu Smith, where you know before they got Jonnu Smith, they didn't really use their tight ends much, and then they got him, and people assumed that they would continue to not use their tight end that much. But McDaniel realized what an advantage he gives you in the passing game, and then we saw him use like
That's a good point. The
Dulcich
Jonnu,
this year.
he's a different type of player in some ways, because he's more like downfield and stuff, but he is actually quite similar in the
Yeah,
more important way, which is that he's
and
a big receiver.
Gadsden has the frame to like fill out and potentially be like end up being a plus run blocker. I think when you look at his skill set, Mike McDaniel is not going to be able to help himself from using Gadsden.
I love it. All
Has,
right,
is, is he, is
so
he on the board still?
Gadsden, no, he's gone.
Hmm.
We could have taken him over Kincaid was the choice, but there was like a tier here that I thought Gadsden, Kincaid, and Kelsey were all in. I'm glad we got a guy from that tier because
Yeah.
we need the tight end points. All right, we're looking at tight end. Juwan Johnson's somewhat interesting.
Chig is also interesting.
Chig is somewhat interesting for sure.
Not
He came out
necessarily
pretty
here,
clean.
but
Hawkinson would be a stacking partner for us with Kyler. Receiver, I do like Travis Hunter still. He'd probably be my receiver pick here. And running back,
this is nasty.
like you could talk me into Keaton Mitchell, I guess here. I don't.
Nah.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
don't
guy
love it.
later on who I like, but I think maybe we
Okay.
keep building at some other positions here, like receiver and tight end.
I'd be Travis Hunter, I think.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do Hunter.
I still believe.
And then
I know that he's.
And then we're playing this as what if BTJ gets moved and Travis Hunter slots in as a third receiver?
Oh man, we're doing cartwheels on a BTJ trade.
Oh yeah, BTJ traded to the Vikings. Jordan Addison gets in trouble. Got him stacked up with Kyler.
I like that it's good for us because we have Kyler, but it's also like probably the most crowded wide receiver competition he could have other than the place he currently is.
Yeah.
Like the Cowboys, I guess, would be worse, but
yeah.
Yeah. What if we you know what? Now we can't even do the Broncos because they just traded for Waddle. What if they trade? No, that's bad for Hunter. I was gonna say, what if they trade him for Waddle? Trade him to the 49ers would be fine. We could do that.
Yeah.
Stribling. They bring Stribling back. I'm not too worried about him for Hunter.
Well, how are we looking at running back? We're probably gonna need to
running back. We need a little bit of depth. We've got the 3 guys. The whole team's gonna come down to those guys, but need a little depth. We're getting there's some guys that are intriguing, I suppose.
Oh man, one of them just went off.
Yeah, Samson's definitely intriguing.
Yeah, in PPR.
Really Spears is a winner from the draft.
Is he available?
He just went. I was just saying. I'd probably be Hawkinson here.
Okay, yeah.
Tight end 2, stacked with Murray.
Yeah, this is the difference between where Hawkinson is going now and where he was going last year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Really big gap.
Yeah, this is we're pushing it at running back, but like we took 3 running backs in the first 4 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you're never gonna be super comfortable everywhere. So we get 4 receivers through 7, take the 3 quarterbacks, grab 2 tight ends in round 11 and 14, and then fill out receivers. So now we're up to 6 receivers with a couple kind of more spike week guys. But even though we didn't take receivers super early, like Evans and Higgins should be pretty consistent target earners, you'd think. Tate's more late season upside. Thomas could be all season upside if he gets traded.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we need a little bit of depth, right? At running back.
I mean, Coleman could be good.
We're in range now for Coleman. Yeah.
Even if Dobbins were to stay healthy, which he has not been able to do for several seasons now.
Yep.
Like you could see Coleman, at least getting like a goal line role there.
Yep.
And giving you some playable weeks.
I think he's definitely he needs to drop from where he was because he's being drafted like he might get, day 2 capital and be a starter. Like that was like, something you were hoping for as an upside outcome. And now that didn't happen, I think he really does need to fall. But for us as an RB4, he would make sense, I think.
Yeah.
Boston is kind of a value. He just went. He's a bit of a value. I would say AJ Barner and Schultz and Stowers all look like solid picks at tight end for a tight end 3. Not that we have to do it. There's other tight ends I like. But this is probably a 3 tight end build, maybe even 4.
I think this is probably a 4 tight end build.
Coleman goes
later. Damn.
That's a bummer. Jeez. He would have fit the team really nicely.
This is so rough at running back. Can you scroll down a little bit to see? I like Ray Davis. Later, obviously, but
later, yeah. I mean, Emmett Johnson, I guess, has some appeal. Nick Singleton has a little bit of appeal.
And yeah, I would like Emmett Johnson if he's going to be their third down, their like long down and distance back.
Yeah. What round did he go in? 4th?
It was definitely not the 3rd.
5th. Oh man.
Mm.
I don't know.
There's a guy further down that I like as well. I don't. There's a couple there that I like.
Let's see. I'd probably be one of these tight ends.
Okay.
Maybe Stowers, who we talked about
Yeah,
having
let's do
upside.
Stowers.
All right.
Swing for the fences.
When I'm taking 3 to 4 tight ends, I think I'll have a good amount of Stowers.
Yeah. Like, should I just say the running backs that I like?
Well, you should for our next pick because I think we're going to take one of them.
Okay.
I think at this point we'll take our 4th running back here in the 16th. We're pretty covered out everywhere else, and we're getting. I mean, it's just been so flat. Like Coleman would have been nice to come back, but I'm glad we took Hawkinson over him.
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell or Spears or Sampson would have been cool, but I'm glad we took Hunter there because we needed the receiver more than the running back. So it's just like I don't see the place where we should have taken that 4th running back. Given that, again, we're like betting on Brown's a workhorse all year, Bucky's the clear-cut starter, and McCaffrey's McCaffrey. I think we're actually pretty good at running back. We just need a little depth, little fill in, maybe miss bye week, a couple weeks of injury for one of the guys.
Yeah, a small handful of shots where if James Cook gets injured, and then Ray Davis is the workhorse for the Bills, then we're in an incredible spot.
For sure.
Which I think it would be Ray Davis. I know some people speculate that Ty Johnson would be the guy. I don't think that's the way that it would shake out.
Do you want to go Davis here?
Yeah, let's go Ray Davis.
Okay.
And then I've got a couple other guys who I would be interested in as well.
We've already bet on the Bills a little bit with Kincaid. They're scoring touchdowns through Davis and Kincaid.
Typical Joe Brady offense.
Yeah. I mean, kind of is.
Yeah.
And then, we're looking at some of the receivers that were interesting have just come off the board. Receivers pretty picked over now, I would say. There's a few guys, but I think we're talking like last round.
Mm-hmm.
Tight end.
Staring at me.
There's still some tight ends I like. Still a few tight ends I like. That could probably be one of our last picks.
Yeah.
Yeah. What other running backs do you like here?
I like Emmett Johnson.
Yep. We thought about him a couple rounds ago. I would be down for sure.
Can you pull it? Braylon Allen is another one.
Yeah, I like Braylon Allen too. At this price, I mean,
yes,
pretty cheap. You know what I don't hate?
Vidal?
Sean Tucker. And we just get we have every touchdown ever scored by a Bucs running back.
I like it.
With a little bit of disrespect to Kenneth Gainwell there.
Who was it?
Actually,
on the ship chasing crew that was very down on
Jacob.
Him? Jacob? Okay.
Jacob said he was the worst pick on the board, but then later amended that to say when I don't like a guy like a little bit, when I like a guy a little bit less than average, I say he's the worst pick on the board. And almost seemed annoyed with us for taking him literally. So yeah. It was sort of a Davis level exaggeration.
Yeah.
But because we got in an argument where I was like pro Kenneth Gainwell because he said he was the worst pick on the board. But then I proceeded to have to admit that like I was like 12 picks behind ADP on Kenneth Gainwell. Like I'm not like targeting him really. It was purely that I just didn't think he was the worst pick on the board.
Oh, somebody said that DK has Eli Heidenreich at wide receiver.
Oh no. They do.
Oh no.
That's a bummer. Dang. They did in the pre-draft period as well. Kudos to DK though, because wasn't even included in the player pool on some other sites that I'm familiar with. Yeah. Disrespectful. But he's a wide receiver, I guess.
That he was like there at the draft in Pittsburgh, and then Pittsburgh selected him.
I didn't realize that. That's awesome. So I would say Tucker, Katron, and Braylon jump out here.
Absolutely.
Who do you like the most of those guys?
I mean, given our I think we go with Sean Tucker because like we are a little bit thin.
Yep.
At running back, and pairing him up with Bucky kind of solidifies one of those spots, right? So then we have basically like 3 really good running backs, right?
Yeah, I like kind of love that. And I know it feels, especially if you're coming from more of like a redraft, traditional fantasy league mindset, it feels like super lame, you're like kind of handcuffing, but you're like we're not betting on Bucky to get hurt for a long period of time. We're betting on Christian McCaffrey, Chase Brown, and Bucks running back who scores a touchdown to like hit our lineup almost every week of the season.
Yeah.
And most of those being Bucky. But like that week when Bucky scores like 6 points, we probably need another running back score. Tucker might actually he might have scored 13 points that week, and we can use that.
Yeah. It's a functional luxury pick, much like the Jaguars selecting Nate.
Oh no, it's the Nate Forfeiture.
Yeah.
Oh no. There's about 4 minutes left in this draft, so yeah. Sean Tucker.
We have a vision, okay? You don't need to share our vision because it's our vision.
Oh God, I take it all back. All right, so we have 3 picks left in the draft.
All right.
Honestly, if we want to be done at running back, we certainly can be. If we don't want to be done at running back, we could take more. I think probably we grab
looking like
a couple more receivers. Yeah. I'll tell you one guy I'd love to grab.
Yeah.
Just to have him. Yeah. I don't feel like we need to push it. Would be Ted Hurst. It's going to be a big part of what I do this year.
Okay.
3rd round pick to the Bucks. And I think
heard your Jalen McMillan slander on Pete's show, by the way. Don't think that I missed that.
I mean, if you're into the Bucks seem to only take slot receivers. Jalen McMillan, slot receiver. That's fair. That's not slander, is it?
You went a little further than that. Pull the clip.
I mean, I also said he never had a good play in his entire fucking life.
You said that he couldn't cut it in the Arena League.
But primarily my point is
never been born.
But the main point was he's a slot receiver. I guess he's only played 19 and 26% in the slot. So he's not a, but the thing, what I would say with McMillan is like, he is a miscast outside wide receiver. He's a slot receiver in like what he would do best would be playing out of the slot, which is true of Emeka Buka. It's true of Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
It's true of Tez Johnson.
Oops, all slots.
Oops, all slot receivers. Yeah. And they didn't do it with Ted Hurst. Ted Hurst is not a slot receiver. Ted Hurst is a traditional outside receiver. He's a deep threat. He's a big guy.
And he's loyal.
He's loyal. He loves playing at Georgia State, no matter how bad the passing game is.
How could they let a player who is so loyal
fall? Oh, dude, Stribling was there. We should have taken Stribling. I didn't even notice him.
Oh my gosh.
What a what a big whiff.
Oh, geez.
With Purdy?
The sidekick would not have missed that.
The sidekick would have told us.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Man. Dude, Stribling would have been a smash. I didn't notice him.
Wow.
You know, because they don't have the ADP yet because we're so early on.
Mm-hmm.
We should have searched and starred him. Wow. What a fail.
Unbelievable.
What a fail.
God.
Dribbling the blocking receiver? Oh, man.
Jeez.
Crutches got him. Look at that.
Wow. Good job, Crutches.
Star method fail. Well, the star method isn't. I didn't do the star method. You know what I mean? Team's dead now.
Well, you did the star method in.
I didn't use it.
In the fact that you think Ted Hurst is a star.
I think Ted Hurst is a star. I'd rather bet on Stribling as invested in the 49. Damn it. God damn it. That one actually bums me out. I'm not gonna lie.
Are there look at running back? Do we need
running back? We got a whole lot of nothing. That interests you.
Braylon Allen's gone. Okay. Forget that. Receiver. We need receiver.
We'd probably take one more receiver.
Okay.
You take your boy Devon.
I like Vele here. I think there were like a couple other guys that I guess just went off the board.
Let's take Vele. You talked him up.
Yeah.
I like circling back to these guys we talked about.
Pull up the board real quick. Because I feel like there were a couple guys that went off right before. Not Lane, not Horton. Oh, you know what? I'm a little bit into Keon Coleman late this year.
Oh, Greg Dulcich was who I wanted I thought if I kept quiet, he would just come right back to us in the 20th round, but nope. Damn it. I didn't do a good job landing the plane here of the 33rd overall pick in the draft paired with Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey and Mike Evans would have been pretty good.
Pretty nice. What's available at tight end?
Tight ends, we have. There's like a couple guys, I think. Not really, actually. Bunch of backups. I mean, there's one guy. There's two guys. There's two guys I think are kind of interesting.
Are there?
Yep.
Okay.
There's exactly two guys I'm intrigued by. But if we didn't want to take tight end, I think we'd take another receiver. I mean, see a running back to take. Yeah, man.
This is like a bargain bin at a free store.
Everything started free, and then there's a bargain bin.
It's like we will actually pay you to take this off our hands.
Gesicki would be with our Bengals bet. I think he's kind of interesting. I also like Darnell Washington. I think he's actually kind of good.
Let's take Darnell Washington.
All right, let's do it.
I am a Brennan Thompson respecter. Was he available too?
No, Thompson's gone.
Some Crutches said that I'm not a Brennan Thompson respecter.
I don't think Thompson was there.
What's he talking about? Explain yourself, Crutches.
Am I wrong? I don't see any Brennan Thompson. There he's gone. He's gone. I can't draft him. I'll never recover from this dribbling.
Oh, he went final round there.
Bryce Lance is a solid pick there at the end. I think some of these.
Oh man, did you see the Bryce Lance coach speak?
No.
Or GM speak? Mickey Loomis, general manager, said, asked him about Bryce Lance. He said, yeah, developmental 6'3", 4'4" player that didn't play at a Power 4 conference. He played for North Dakota State. And so there's probably some development that we need to do there. I can't remember this many general managers in their post-draft press conferences just like being so blunt about what a project they just drafted in like the third and fourth round.
They hate this draft class as much as we do.
Yeah.
Like
John Eric Sullivan talking about the guys that they drafted. Oh man,
They always pretend that they're like they drafted like 6 first-round picks. Like he was a first round. I don't know what he was doing there because he was a first rounder on our board.
Sean Payton is notorious for that. It's like, well, we had a 2nd round grade on Estime and a 3rd round grade on this guy that we're going to end up cutting. But John Eric Sullivan is like, yeah, this tight end that we drafted, he's going to be an unsung hero. He's going to be a great blocker for us.
Nate Borkature has a superpower, and that superpower is we had a 7th round grade on him, but this draft class sucks.
Oh man.
All right, let's review this draft and get out of here. The theme of this team is we took running back early, and then we waited until the end, grab a couple guys, little contingency guys, shore up the Buccaneers backfield bet. You got to bet on the Bucs 3rd receiver instead of Deshaun's dribbling when you have Purdy, but we'll get to that. We get the 4 wide receivers through 7, grabbed 3 quarterbacks here. This felt super comfy to me at the time and ended up feeling very comfy. In retrospect, we got TJ Hawkinson to pair with Kyler Murray. Didn't stack Bo Nix, which I think is fine because we have double stack Purdy. Kyler's got rushing ability as well as the tight end stack there. Got 4 tight ends ultimately: Darnell Washington, TJ Hawkinson, Eli Stowers, and Kincaid. Routes maybe aren't going to be like how we win at tight end, but all 4 guys I think kind of interesting as spike week plays. Shaheed, Travis Hunter, Ted Hurst, Vele help fill out the receiver room. What are your thoughts on this team?
Yeah, interesting team at tight end. Like I think it's going to be a little like pinballish of, hopefully one of these 4 guys, like all 4 of these guys have the ability to put up, like 14 points in a week or whatever. And hopefully one of them will do it every week.
It's pinballish, but like Hawkinson and Kincaid, like we know generally what they are. They're not, it's not like totally speculative. They're not perfect profiles by any means, but yeah.
And then between Stowers and Kincaid, like if Stowers hits and Kincaid stays healthy enough to run like 60-65% of routes, we can get some nice like Harold Fannin type production out of those guys
for sure. Yeah, I think look, let us be your guide here. When you get down in the end, you got to search, you got to star, you got to be a little bit more proactive. As we were blabbing away on stream, we missed the chance to get Stribble in the slate. I assume he'll move up quickly. Like I would have him, like I would have taken him for this team if I had crossed my mind. Like I think I would have taken him around when we took Ray Davis and Sean Tucker.
Yeah.
Maybe even earlier. So yeah, that's going to be one of the things today. Just being a little bit proactive there and starring those guys that are going to be under the radar today and won't be under the radar next week, probably, once DraftKings ADP updates pretty quickly. So short window to do what we didn't in Scoops dribbling.
I'm curious how long it'll take people to move Stribling up, given the fact that so many people hated the pick, right? That like, oh, such a reach.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll move up somewhat quickly, but I don't think he ever gets super expensive. You know, I suspect that I'll have a bunch of him this year because 33rd overall pick to a coordinator or offensive mind, head coach that I believe in, with good quarterback play. And I'm not a huge Pearsall guy. I mean, Pearsall wasn't any more of a reach. Yeah. And I've seen Pearsall play for a couple years and not been super impressed. I think I'll take the chance on Stribling at a much cheaper price. Pearsall, where did he go here? Pearsall went at the 902.
Wow.
No, thank you.
I mean, Stribling in the Juwan Jennings role, which is how they're talking about him in the what did he go here? 18th round? Like that's pretty nice.
1807 when we emailed DraftKings and asked them to redo that 1800. Yeah, 1809, like that's pretty good value. And I think he'll probably move up and be more like in the 16th round. Like I don't see any reason why you would take Chris Brazel over him as like the ADP. Maybe this team, I don't know. This team had Bryce Young, so I'm not saying you should have taken Stribling, but I don't see why his ADP would be any lower than Chris Brazel's.
Look at the receivers that he went after, like Chris Bell, who is going to miss all of training camp and not play until later in the season. Tyreek Hill, whose leg was bent a completely different way than it should have been.
Knee dislocations do not have a good track record.
Yeah, and like older guy too, you know.
Yeah.
Flournoy.
Yeah, man. I got to run, but this has been really fun. I'm super excited that we're doing this every week. Tell people about what you got going on. Coach Speak Index.
So starting next week, I'll be doing some solo/guest streams on Wednesdays. Was going to do that this week, but I'm moving tomorrow. This Friday, Pat is going to join me on my channel for a recorded show of I'm not going to spoil the topic, but it's a very, very fun topic, and I think it'll be very instrumental when we're talking about guys in these later rounds who are gems and could be very productive this season. And check me out at Coach Speak Index online, and then obviously the Coach Speak Index Discord that has every important note from every head coach, offensive coordinator, general manager, presser. Huge edge for fantasy football.
Yeah, check out Legendary Upside. We got the Legendary Upside Sidekick, which will be launching for DraftKings hopefully later today. It's a dynamic rankings tool that helps you kind of stay on the rails. It helps even if, let's say, you just wanted to ignore and then have pop up that you should take Deshaun Stribling in the 18th round because you took 3 49ers already.
You're going to have nightmares tonight about Deshaun Stribling.
It keeps you from making those types of mistakes. And also, provides recommendations for every other round. So check that out at legendaryupside.com/sidekick and have regular rankings over there at Legendary Upside as well. The DraftKings rankings I will be getting out here shortly in the next few hours. So good luck in your drafts. We'll be back here same time next week. If you're looking for more leg up content, I'll be back here tomorrow with Shady Advice for a mailbag stream. We're gonna jump in a draft and answer questions from the chat, and draft as well. So that'll be at 5, like my Pacific time is messing me up. It'll be at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific tomorrow with Shady Advice right here back on the Leg Up YouTube channel. Like and subscribe so you don't miss. We're gonna have regular streams all summer on the Leg Up YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. See you soon.